GitGud EU Season 5. We're opening up this week. We just got to see a fantastic match with another Synergy team, but we've got a new one in front of us. Synergy X is taking on Inferno. I am Door, and I'm joined by Ocean. We're going to be taking you through all the action today. We're starting off our second game of the day on Lijiang Tower. Let's get a little bit into these teams, though, because this game's getting close to starting.
Yeah, so Inferno and Synergy X, both teams on a 0-0 record. Is our first week of the Xbox GitGud scene, season 5 of our GitGud season. Looking at these rosters, though, Inferno have a lot of experienced players in the console scene, in particular Purple on that support role. They also got Big Lewis, who is pretty experienced on that DPS role, so they have got a lot of options in that Inferno roster, and it's been exciting to see that. Also, Lijiang Tower will be our first map. Interesting as both of these teams selected Ilios as their preferred control map.
Yeah, running onto the Lijiang, I don't think it's a bad idea here. Of course, there's a lot of really interesting strats that you can run. The Symmetra is extremely prevalent. I'm really curious to see, though, whether or not these teams lock it in, right? We're starting out on Night Market. What kind of stuff do you expect to see outside of the standard Symmetra compositions?
I feel like the Symmetra composition has to be the call for both teams, because realistically, you need to be able to control that space. Like earlier, we saw Kaiba controlling the space on those control maps, and that they looked dominant on that control map, in particular in Nepal it was earlier. I feel like controlling that space can be the important thing, and Symmetra enables you to do that so well.
Well, we do see Synergy actually locking in a Pharah, no Symmetra, most notably, so they're going to go for the more spam approach. Try and force Inferno off of this point. Inferno, they're going to step in. It's just whether or not they can take the heat, but already Tess goes down on the McCree early, and that's a lot of the damage. A lot of that threat that Synergy had of all that spam damage is now gone. Rattlegrammer, though, falls without a Symmetra. This composition's a lot less threatening. Inferno can't do all that much. It's unrecognized, picked them apart. It's a race between the Pharah. Who can kill one another's team first? But it seems to be Azo getting the better of him. Inferno take it over.
Yeah, so really good, like just good play from Azo. Just on the floor, rushing in with their shots, making sure they focused on the McCree first so they have a lot more space to operate around. That's something that you really want to do on far. Make sure you take out your direct counters. We see Synergy X try and take a more high ground and sophisticated approach.
Seems like the right one for them right now. They're still going to get spammed out by Inferno, but they finally got this space. And Inferno, of course, they don't want to step too far off this point. You want to go home, you want to go where it's comfy cozy with all those Symmetra turrets, and that's exactly what they'll do. Lining up that double shield. Now it's about survival. And again, Tess goes down early. This McCree hasn't even seen the light of day yet.
Yeah, Tess, who is your main check and your sort of most important DPS to play around with that McCree, and they haven't really played around their McCree at all. Going down early again, 2 fights in a row, and Inferno are going to clean up this fight.
Yeah, Azo's been doing a fantastic job now with 2 cleaned up fights, so let's take a look at those ultimate charges.
Yeah, Synergy X have nothing online yet. They are close to both of their support ultimates, but look at their tank ultimates, 21% and 34% compared to 60% and 71% on the side of Inferno, and they have to deal with that barrage. Azo's looking for it, hiding behind with the 4. Let's see if he can get something with that severely good ultimate ability.
Azo's an ever-looming threat and takes out unrecognized. The direct rocket connects. Will they pick him up? And happens, barely manages to get there in time. Led trying to sneak around the other side, use that barrier to their advantage, but the shields are just falling to all the damage that Inferno are throwing in. Remember, the longer they're taking, the more the Symmetra's able to do, the more damage that Beam's able to pump out, and the more time they have to just use the spam to their advantage.
Yeah, Forward is popping off here, getting the better of the McCree in the forward. McCree duel again, and he's been dominant on the Pharah. Oh, that's another nice direct rocket hit in the dogfight duel. Dominant so far from Inferno, and Synergy X have to try and feed their way into touch.
This has been amazing from Inferno so far, using the barrier on point now to hide behind. The bomb goes out. 2 different angles they have to be looking for. A fully charged Symmetra to worry with. They're barely going to be able to touch, but they're just bleeding players out left and right. Who's up next to die? I am Juge goes down. You get a kill, and you get a kill, and there's a Mercy left, and she gets a kill. Overtime just going to tick down inevitably here. Synergy X fall, and Inferno are going to take map 1 of Lijiang.
Yeah, Night Market done. I mean, Inferno did such a good job controlling that space with the 4 and the Symmetra. Synergy X were just kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. Their pathing on the first fight, trying to retake, was pretty good. They were able to take the high ground. But when you're McCree, which is your main check in the DPS duel of the 4, it's constantly dead. You don't really have much to work with.
It's a different map though now, right? Without that Symmetra being as much of a problem here, Now there's a few more things to worry about, and it's something that you and I were talking about during the break. Control offers up a lot of really interesting looks. Every single map demands a different type of composition, especially here on Lijiang Tower. So now as we head into the Control Center, what do you expect to see from these teams? What are the key heroes that we should be looking out for?
So we're gonna see the Meg Junkrat composition from Inferno. So that's gonna be built around controlling space, controlling little small chokes that are filtered all around this Lijiang control center map. And we're gonna see Purple and the Brigitte, who's gonna be providing a lot of armor packs to that Junkrat and might enable them to play a little bit more aggressive look for something you maybe wouldn't look with otherwise. And of course, keep one big bot on the map to that.
Already walls either way. Neither Reinhardt really getting caught out. Too hard charge does land on the DZ. Needs to be very careful because BMF left is taken down extremely early. A good halt trying to pull people in off point, but Inferno with that singular pick have just cracked open Lijiang.
Yeah, so BNF Leb, I like the idea, just going for the pin on the Reinhardt gets a lot of damage off. However, when you're pinning into that sort of space where the Junkrat's controlling these mini chokes I was talking about, they're controlling the space with the Orisa, the Junkrat, and the Meg, and then they're just able to filter through and destroy that Synergy X offense, and Inferno will take control of this another choke with the Junkrat and the Meg. It's going to be really difficult for them to push in.
The Junk and May, yeah, you're right. It is making things very, very hard for Synergy X. Leb cannot let his shield down for fear of losing players, but unrecognized, the next to fall. Test couldn't catch a break on the McCree in the previous game, but now they just throw another player on him. He's getting targeted just as badly. The halt into the fire strike, the Junkrat mines. It's all too much right now for Synergy to handle.
Yeah, Synergy X going down again. Amplification used with Earth Shatter, so not too many ultimates converted for that fight. When DZ trying to keep alive will do so, and they will live to see another day. Synergy X still trying to push for this choke here on the zone.
Real struggle so far. They finally got a Blizzard, right? There's nothing that Inferno can really do about this Blizzard. There's no support ultimate. The rally might be online. A Blizzard of their own could look to peel for it, but not too many tools in their pocket to deal with such a critical ultimate here. Synergy look to engage from the high ground. Really drop in off the top rope, using the tire up in Immortality Field is so clutch from Jude. The fact that he even had that ability is so critical there. Hulk pulls 3 down from the high ground, trying to wall him up. Blizzards each way, frozen up. Who's getting taken down though? Nap is the first to fall. More to follow. Leb and unrecognized. It seems like Inferno are turning this one their way, converting that freeze damage into some elimination.
Yeah, so both teams dropped the Blizzard in that fight. Inferno just got a lot more value out of it, using that Junkrat damage and of course the Brigitte's armor to enable their Reinhardt and the Orisa to play a little bit more aggressive, meaning that they get maximum value out of their Blizzard. However, Synergy X unable to do so. However, they do have ultimates available. Shadow Tools off, hit Purple, and the Deadeye will also, but they just can't even touch. I wasn't even paying attention to the timer, and it seems like Synergy X weren't either. They didn't even get a fight in, and Inferno clean sweep for Lijiang.
And that one stings. I mean, come on, the no touch at the end. That's just unfortunate. This was the one chance they had, right? The Blizzard on point was their only way back into that one, and Synergy weren't able to convert the damage. I've got to say, a lot of that comes down to the fact that Inferno were running the Orisa. That Fortify allows you to convert that damage because you're not going to be getting frozen up anytime soon. The Reinhardt may be able to escape, but I like the brawl compositions there. They were very creative, a lot of them. I really like playing the Brigitte alongside the Baptiste. I think that's an interesting look that you can give this composition, one that's very specific to the map that's so cramped as Control Center. But I don't think it worked out quite as well as they expected, especially playing into the Junkrat, which can be a very, very difficult pick for Brigitte to play into.
Yeah, they just weren't able to get the space at all. They had the space at the first fight, Synergy X, and then they went for their aggressive play to try and get the Reinhardt on Inferno down, and they just ended up playing into Inferno's game. Inferno were able to control the space for the rest of the map using those little small chokes. As I said, there's chokes everywhere to in the Lijiang Control Center map. So it just plays into the strength of the Inferno composition more. And once they had control of the point, it was all over really for Synergy X.
Yeah, Inferno have done a fantastic job controlling the points. One thing I will say, though, one hole in their play that I've seen has been their ultimate economy. It hasn't exactly been perfect, and that's something that Synergy can look to capitalize on in upcoming maps. How do you think they can capitalize on that? Or are there any particular compositions that they need to use to capitalize on that?
Maybe like something like a Sombra, because then you could, if they're using a lot of ultimates and then maybe have one online, you could just hack that, perma hack that target, and then they can't use their ultimate ability, and then they have no win conditions. So maybe something like a Sombra, so maybe heading out to a map like Rialto or Raid 66 next, could be beneficial for the Synergy X team.
Yeah, worth noting, next map will be Escort here. So, like you said, Rialto, Route 66, it's similar to the options that we talked about in the previous series, right? Trying to avoid that mirror composition, trying to target your opponent's weakness and taking them down with that Somber, finding a little bit of open space to work with. Maybe a dive even out of these teams could be really critical. We didn't get to see that Genji used to full effect either. So maybe try and force your way onto that if you've got a player who's comfortable on it.
I feel like you just want to see some Genji play here.
I mean, it's on the new patch. It's I'm not even a Genji player. Like I play Mei and Echo. Like I just want to see it. You put all these fancy patch notes in, he gets this massive thing, and nobody's really had to use it. Nobody's had to pull out a massive nano blade, and I'd love to see the first.
Yeah, it looks like we're gonna go over to Junkertown. So Synergy X selecting that map, maybe opting to play into some hit scan, and knowing that Inferno did run that for on that first point night market in Lijiang. So maybe just opting into the hit scan duel. However, I mean, they didn't really show much luck in the hit scan. McCree got taken down early in a couple fights in a row. So we'll see how this Junkertown pick ups for them.
Yeah, it's one of those times where you're playing your game and you just remember, oh yeah, we have a McCree. He's just spent half his time in spawn getting picked off by Junkrats and Fars, regardless of who's playing with. It's no one player's fault. It's just the amount of pressure that Inferno are putting on, right? Inferno are very much favoring these spam compositions. Even when they play the get to point quick brawl composition and just set yourself up there with the bunker, they're still running a Pharah. And their shield break is so immense. I'd love to see whether or not they want to continue that on the previous maps because it works perfectly well against Synergy so far.
Yeah, so I mean, there aren't many options for spam comms because Junkertown is so open. So I actually do like the selection a lot from Synergy X. I mean, we have seen the Junkrat composition around before, and May has been prevalent here for quite some time, even as a flex support. We have seen May used back when rule lock wasn't a thing. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of spam composition Inferno does decide to opt for, or if they just go for that double hit scan that's always been prevalent on the Junkertown map.
I mean, double sniper, double hit scan, whatever you go with, that far is going to be feeling especially threatened if they do decide to go to it. I would be down for Widow duels. I would love to see something like that. Just have a pure mechanical ability check for both of these teams. Because I don't think it's like the previous series where a lot of the advantage was in the mechanical. I feel like a lot of it in this particular map was how Synergy X wanted to deal with all the spam. Because on both maps, it was just issues dealing with spam damage and getting 2 points safely. They lost a lot of value while they were moving towards the point. We haven't really gotten to see them do anything properly mid-fight because I think the only real even fight we saw was the first point on Night Market where both teams were battling on point and it was just a race of the Fars. And at that point, it's kind of a toss-up.
Yeah, when you're leaving things up to like a foragel in the sky, which can be really unpredictable, especially when it's the first map of the series, you don't really know your opponent too well. It's going to be really difficult to, kind of set a win condition. So we'll think about it. Move on, go into Junkertown. It looks like Synergy X are going to be defending first. Inferno opting to attack first here on Junkertown. What do you think about attacking first, especially when you have the momentum? We talked about this earlier with Kaibid making the same decision.
Attacking first is, I would say, questionable at this early into the series. Of course, defending first is usually the choice that you're going to go with given the option, because then you can effectively budget your ultimates on the attacking side because you know where you need to be reaching. It's something like a 2 CP point where you can save up a certain amount of ultimates, stack them because you have this set objective that you need to reach. Taking attack this early is rough. I would say you don't quite have the same amount of momentum, and so trying to convert it the same way that we saw earlier isn't quite as easy. Now, my other thought for this is, I mean, it's something that I know my team does every once in a while when we're playing a team that we feel we are very confident beating. We just want to play more Overwatch. We know that if we hold early, we're only going to get to see about 1 point. And so playing only 1 point of Junkertown doesn't sound like that much fun. So if Inferno are that confident in their ability to take this map early, maybe they're just trying to play more Overwatch.
Maybe they're just trying to play more Overwatch. I like that. And from my coaching experience, though, I really do think that it's kind of a mistake. I mean, I know I get you're maybe trying to hold momentum, but defending first is always such a big advantage, especially on escort maps, where it's very easy to full hold if you use your tank cooldowns appropriately and rotate appropriately. appropriately and make sure you take the amount of fights that you can take on Escort, especially on those longer first points. We've seen that Route 66, you can maybe take 3 fights. Junkertown as well, you can take potentially 3 fights, which is a lot for a first point, considering on Assault, you only get 1 fight to defend. So on that escort map type, defending first, setting a win condition is always a great idea. So as the coach in me says, that isn't the greatest idea, but maybe Inferno is something we do.
I respect them going for it, and honestly, you know, and if it comes down to some star DPS plays like it usually does on Junkertown, I'm not going to be complaining as a spectator. I think this match, right, we were talking about how much of an advantage it gives you picking the defense first, and it definitely is an advantage. It's not the biggest advantage in the world, though, so I don't think it puts Inferno far behind in the match. It's about the only advantage that we can talk about, though, that Synergy does have now. How much do you think it's going to play into what they choose team compositionally?
I mean, on the offense, I mean, if you want to continue your momentum, go for the double sniper. Try and get an early pick. And if you get an early pick here, maybe that momentum will come into your hand, especially if you're running that Widow Hunter competition. Or, I mean, you could just run the good old standard pirate ship.
Oh, no. We're not back in the days of pirate ship. Release Junkertown when everybody just ran the bastions everywhere. And honestly, you know what's weird is I think Synergy might actually have trouble dealing with that. A lot of the teams that have trouble dealing with things like spam, a lot of that comes down to coordination and just issues moving places fast. And so a coordinated dive on top of a bastion to take them out is really difficult for teams that have struggled dealing with spam in the past. So as far as individual targeting goes with strategies, I think that is something that Inferno might be able to consider. But I don't think Inferno need to be specific right now. I think they can just play their game and they'll probably get away with it.
Yeah, teams that do struggle rotating, as you said, do struggle with the bastion compositions, but they also struggle with the crossfire that the double sniper provides. So I feel like the safest bet is that double sniper composition that we have seen on Junkertown so many times, because the crossfire could be difficult, especially for Synergy X who have problems rotating.
Yeah, Synergy. Well, it's the rotations. Yeah, it's just the speed that they're moving around the map. I think their in-fight execution has been all right. Their targeting was good. I think the one place where it kind of fell off was when we saw the double blizzards drop on control center. But even then, I think again the big difference maker was the Orisa having that fortify, being able to dish out damage without getting frozen. Heading into this map, it's a whole different beast. I do suspect double shield from both sides, relatively similar to what we saw on control center. But I think that aggression from Inferno maybe tempered a little bit. The only thing really progressing them forward naturally being either the cart or picks that their snipers could possibly get.
Yeah, what sort of double shield are you expecting here? Just the Orisa Sigma or the Reinhardt Orisa, or you've also got the Rhine Sigma that's been a little bit more prevalent recently. What sort of double shield are you expecting to see?
I mean, obviously there is a Sigma is going to be strong running with the double sniper. Question is, what supports do you run? Baptiste Zen is usually considered relatively greedy here, but I think on Junkertown it's okay. The Zenyatta has a good amount of space to work with. The double shield is going to be set up in very specific spots, especially on that high ground where the Zenyatta can be hard to remove. The Baptiste doesn't really need anywhere to go because that immortality field is going to be so effective on a map like this. It seems pretty clear cut what they're gonna have to run compositionally. It's just a matter of execution.
Yeah, you also could see the Baptiste composition if you decide to opt for the Reinhardt instead of either the Sigma or Orisa. So if you do see the Reinhardt, expect to see the Lucio alongside the Baptiste. However, the Zen Baptiste is particularly potent with the Discord orbs and a massive damage that Baptiste can throw.
Yeah, Baptiste, I mean, notably damage, right? Something that some GX have had issues dealing with. And so it might just be a matter of damage stacking into these shields. Who can break them first? It could just be something like a Hanzo Ash, like a Hanzo McCree. You still run that hit scan threat, maybe not as long range as the Widowmaker, but you still toss it out there and keep things in check as far as shields go. Make sure that Synergy can't take that much space and recognize their weaknesses and trying to play on that.
Yeah, so we'll see what these teams decide to offer when we head into the map. But what would you like to see? You know, in an ideal world where you get to pick what these two teams play, what would you try and select here?
I'm playing Hanzo, Ash, Horse, pardon me, Orisa, I guess, Sigma, and then a Baptiste Zenyatta every day of the week. I think that's the most optimal composition right now. The Ash is too strong to really back up not playing. At this point, the Dynamite can reach around the shields, which is so critical. Catch people out in all positions. The Widowmaker's strong. I just think the Ash offers up a little bit more to the table when things get a little dicey.
Yeah, also the Tracer pick can be pretty prevalent. We've seen a lot of Tracer Widow matchups recently in the Overwatch League with Echo and Sombra both being banned. As we saw Echo Sombra be very prevalent with the dive tanks. So we've been seeing a little bit more of the Tracer Widow pinfall, slow, poke, damage, and then hoping for those Tracer flanks to pay off. So you might see a little bit of that.
Ready for battle.
Just ready to hop in here, and that's exactly what we're going to see. And not a Zenyatta out from Synergy, although I don't mind a Brigitte from Nappy either. It offers up not exactly the same thing. You're looking for pure sustain and maybe trying to beat out a little bit of that spam damage. Getting the procs off, though, to heal is going to be extremely difficult into double sniper that's playing from so far away. Into double shield that's just going to be blocking a lot of those rocket flails. There's not really too many ways I actually see Nappy's getting in here.
Yeah, Nappies is going to struggle to get that heal up. That Inspire, of course, does a lot of healing for Brigitte. Brigitte, not known for her heals when she got that, that armor pack sort of switcheroo, and, she kind of turned from a tank back into a support, and we got rid of our goats. But as we kick things off, we'll see what type of angles these DPS want to take. We also see Purple on the Mercy going to try and set up the DPS on Inferno here.
Most importantly here, though, setting up Azo to break these shields. Look at this damage boosted Hanzo shredding through everything in his path. Such a threat. The halt in as well. The kinetic grasp is going to go away. Leb now open for damage, open for business. Goes down the next tank in sight. Nappy still can't proc heals. Too many shields in their way. Getting picked off one by one. Synergy X are just getting forced back by this unstoppable will of nature that is Inferno in their cart.
Yeah, already taking that fight, just that damage boosted Hanzo, as you said, just bursting through the shield. They kind of have to respect the Widow on the off angle, so they kind of have to stay away from that sideline, and then they just run into two tanks on Inferno and lose the fight from there.
Now trying for the recontest though. Synergy, they've got a chance. Their wrist is already down. Killed by the Sonic Arrow, no less. Big Lewis takes down and gets the best of Test. Unrecognized the next to fall, and Synergy X, I think the biggest difference maker right now has just been the Mercy.
Yeah, the Mercy damage boost giving resources to both of the DPS, not just Azo on the Hanzo, but Big Lewis on the Widowmaker makes the duel really difficult. Trying to take the duel against the Hanzo is going to go down. A little bit of a late stagger, and Inferno keep rolling this card through.
I'm not the only one that's unrecognized, pardon me, Azo's brain is just too large to comprehend. Throws the dragon up towards the high ground. The Brigitte is forced to evacuate out the window. At that point, it's just a free pick.
Yeah. Massive plays from the Hanzo. As Big Lewis wins the Widowmaker 1v1 again. These DPS are just absolutely insane on Inferno.
They are. Nap is still unable to do anything on the Brigitte. The cart's like 90% of the way through B, and they lose their other one. The Hanzo now down. The shield's free for the taking. Oh no, it's a firing range here for Big Lewis on the Widowmaker, making such an impact on such a critical map.
Yeah, he's got a Widowmaker shield. Not Widowmaker shield. Imagine Widowmaker had a shield. That's the single shield with amplification matrix. It is just a dead at the shooting range. He's popping off on the Widowmaker. All the resources into the DPS for Inferno, and Synergy X really struggling to get any ground here on point C of Junkers.
Yeah, this Charlie point proving to be the proving ground, I guess, for Synergy. And look at all these ultimates. They've got the sights online. Test will be there to match. Rally has finally come up pretty much passively for Nappies at this point. Juge has just the amplification matrix. I'm trying to think of how they can use these tools, but there's so few ways. All they can do is just peel for one another while Inferno throw ultimate after ultimate after ultimate their way.
And Nappy's using that rally to try and build up the armor early on and take a quick engagement. However, they're not really getting anything out of this. The point is just moving. Even if Inferno loses this fight, they've probably got it down to the last fight territory.
And there's that Amp Matrix trying to put in the damage. They can take down a tank. They stand a decent chance here. Lucius gets dropped real low. Nappies has finally made his way in. The Dragon through as well. Gravitic Flux to peel though from Inferno is beautiful. Stopped a lot of that damage from going through. The Bongo now as well, saving their life for the time being. And vulnerability field finally used though from Inferno. It's impressive they managed to hold it for that long. Now they're just kids in a candy store shooting at whatever they damn feel like. Test comes up big though. The first kill onto Lewis all game. Unrecognized as well. The DPS for Synergy X finally turning this one around.
Yeah, it looks like they finally found an angle where the two DPS on Synergy X were able to kind of get the better of the DPS positionally on the side of Inferno, but I think that's the first time that's happened in this series, never mind just this map, where it's so important to have an important good crossfire from your DPS, making sure that you're taking away angles and rotations that the Synergy X can play around, and Inferno obviously, because they're both playing this double sniper composition, you're forcing the tanks into positions they don't want to be in.
Absolutely. Now we finally see Inferno have to take space. Oh, but take space they will. Big Lewis does it all on his own with an amazing 2K on the Widowmaker, looking for more. Lucid's following up a third. He's going off. Big Lewis taking heads off his shoulders.
Yeah, gets another kill onto the Brigade set. Big Lewis and Azo popping off on this double sniper competition, and now they have the positional advantage as well, as Synergy X have to panic to get this recontest in.
3:30 on the clock. Dragon thrown in. Azo finds the Dome of Leb. Looking for more now. Gravitic Flux picks him up. It's good for Synergy. They can't turn this around. There's a lot of damage been thrown out by that single ultimate ability. Big Lewis managed to clean up one onto Juge. Invulnerability field no longer available, but Lucid's still on this cart. Still a threat as ever as Synergy X slowly used that spawn advantage and that support advantage to pull this one back from the depths.
Yeah, X was actually used the Brigade to whip shot, not only to pop Inspire off of the Purple Mercy and Valkyrie, but also to kill the Mercy and Valkyrie, which meant that a lot of the healing and a lot of the resources from Inferno is just gone once that Mercy Valkyrie is out of the picture. However, ultimates severely in favor of Inferno here. They have both tank ultimates, and they're still building up to the amplification matrix for their only ultimate of the fight on Synergy, but they might be able to get that super charge.
Yeah, and Juge lines up to use the amplification matrix, but there's not much they can do with it. If they hit the amp matrix, they're just gonna get rid of their flux. The combo is there to just counter it. However, Tess comes up with a massive frag down onto Big Lewis, reses through, but that's almost certainly just more ultimate charge for Synergy right now, and they were very happy they found that first pick. That's gonna turn the ultimate thing way in their favor.
Yeah, oh, Big Lewis going for the back cap, isn't gonna get it. Tried to go for the sneaky play on the Widowmaker, and now the ultimate advantage, as you said, is gone. The ultimate advantage actually switched sides there. Synergy now closer to back ton more ultimates than Inferno, as Purple is going to go over to Brigida just to give his tanks a little bit more stability and give his Baptiste a little bit more stability and sustainability as well to hopefully give Inferno this breaking edge that'll get them all 3 points here on Jumper Time.
I don't mind this though. It's been much less about the shield break on this point and more so about just surviving the barrage of damage that Synergy X have been throwing at you. They've got a nice set of ultimates as well to throw in. Dragon Strike is there. The question is, where's it going to get chucked down? Towards the edge of the fidget spinner. Doesn't quite catch anyway, but it will peel off the Sigma from Inferno. You got to remember though, as this platform rotates, they're continually just losing their shields to the platform. Opens it up though for Big Lewis and FFT to take down Test, and that's been the big key for each of these previous fights. Another one on a nappy. What is this guy on? Some insane stuff coming out from the Widowmaker, but a great amplification matrix into the Hulk. Pulls everybody into a ton of damage on the side of Inferno. Followed up here, Synergy X are doing a fantastic job, but they haven't stabilized. A few more members still alive, and Big Lewis doing what Big Lewis does best. Taking down member after member of the Synergy X squad and finishing off the map with a minute and 1 second on the clock.
Yeah, huge from Inferno. I feel like what is actually giving them the edge is Inferno seem to have the understanding that if they take out their enemy number, their opposition DPS, their DPS are going to have a lot more space to work off. So when Synergy X are going for these fights, they're also looking for the times. So they have a little bit more creative freedom with how they work. But if Inferno get the kill onto the opposition DPS on Synergy X, they have a lot more space to work with these snipers, and then they're winning the fight from there.
Well, you can't talk about him like an object. You can't talk about him like he's just an advantage. He's a person too. His name's Big Lewis. This Widowmaker has been ridiculous so far. This is insanely fun to watch, and frag after frag after frag, elimination after elimination. This guy does not hit anything but headshots.
Yeah, I mean, that man's aim is insane. And also, one thing I really like from Inferno is they were using the infrasight really, really well. And also the sort of Sonic Arrow from Hanzo. They were using the utility that Widowmaker Hanzo's kit provides for information. And information in Overwatch is powerful. Imagine like if you could tell what composition the opposition will be running just straight off the gate, and you would have such a big advantage. But they were able to know what sort of space Synergy X was trying to take with the infrasights and the Sonic Arrows, and they were able to use that for combinations as well. They used the Hunter Dragon into an infrasight and almost got a kill off that. So really creative usage of the information that Inferno were getting from these little sight cooldowns from them.
And now we see the Baptiste now that we wanted to earlier, right? Nappies is going to swap over off the Brigitte, and I think that's a smart choice. Big Lewis swaps over the Ashe. I love the presence of mine there. Try and swap up the DPS pick and find a little bit more damage. Maybe you don't need those picks if you can just do enough with your Hanzo the same way that Azo was doing before. Lots of damage being thrown their way, though. So again, getting pushed off the angle. Inferno don't have as much space as they thought they did, and Test is going to show them exactly that.
Yeah, they just force the angle that they want for their Widowmaker. So the Widowmaker flanks around the side in Test. Test goes around the left-hand side. So what they decide to do in Synergy X is play really, really aggressive, forcing Inferno to kite back. And what do you know? You see Test on that left-hand side. It's a free shooting range. Gets a kill on the Big Lewis. Gets a kill on the Powerball, and that fight's over.
Ooh, all right. Big Lewis ain't playing around anymore. The Ash is gone. The Widowmaker's back. They decide they want to win. He's trying to seek out Test. Does he see him through the flanks? Test waiting for the angle. Can't quite find the shot now. Orisa now set up on point. Inferno have reestablished their position on point alpha and take down Nappies from the high ground. Big Lewis, you can't say his name often enough. Another one on the Juge.
Yeah, this Widowmaker comes back on the high ground. So one advantage you do have when you're coming back after losing that first fight is you have free range to that high ground, which means you have a lot better of a sightline than your opposition Widowmaker. You have a big range, a little bit of tactical crouching there from Lewis. And what's difficult now for the side of Synergy is that they have a long way to walk to the cart. So they have maybe 2-3 fights left at this, and Inferno are building ultimates as they get close to the Dragon Strike.
I know, it is tactical crouch. You're just dodging Widow shots. He's just keeping an eye out for a tester on each and every corner. A's, an early one on unrecognized before the shield can come up. And now, oh boy, Big Lewis. Yeah, what am I supposed to say right now? Casting this game is just insane. It's just Big Lewis in the Big Lewis show.
Yeah, Big Lewis with the big plays. And what I like to note there is that,
come on, dude, give him a break.
Right from the spawn, gets the jump shot on their Test, and that fight is gone as well. But Aizo is also taking the Honzo duel, which gives Big Lewis a lot more space, because if both snipers kind of gang up at one, you have to watch your sightlines a little more. So they're taking the jewels, they know what jewels they need to take, and we're heading into maybe 2 fights left for Synergy X, well, although it could be a lot more. Big Lewis just keep picking one off, and then you find out it's a team fight.
I've got a question for you. Are there any safe places for Synergy to stand on this map that aren't just in their spawn?
I was gonna say the spawn door, but maybe you know, behind the natural cover that they're not using very well.
I'll tell you what, it's not up in the sky getting Rivetic Flux. They're all at half health now, and it's clean up time. Test finds one onto DZ though, trades it back. The double shield looking a little threatening, and again, you're not even surprised to see him show up at the kill feed at this point. The halt in, Synergy, they have a spawn advantage. The Sigma's got a long while to come back. This is the opening they need.
Yeah, Dragon Strike comes through, which is going to give them a little bit of space to get through choke, but you can't get through that choke and take that space without your main tank. Your Orisa is gone. However, Nappa is looking to get rid of the advantage. Both supports down for the side of Inferno as Horrible gets taken down and one big bot is gone as well. So they're going to have to stop reset here, I think.
Big Lewis and Test though, they're going blow for blow here. Test has stepped up to the challenge and they've stopped dueling each other and focused primarily on one another's teammates, trying to pick apart the support structure that lies behind them, and Big Lewis will be the first to fall for that. No shield to hide behind, backs all the way up to the back of the coin, and that's going to leave a lot of space open. Now it is a firing range for Test, and that's almost going to guarantee a free point for Synergy.
Yeah, they're going to take that fight off the Supercharger. There's no expected falls for Inferno there. And interesting to know that both teams have ultimates available as Big Lewis gets another moral victory over Test in the Widowmaker duel. Hope it's nothing for Synergy X. Actually, no, it will. Big Lewis will go down, so Inferno again will have to soft reset and give up a bit of progress for Synergy X. However, ultimates available for both teams in this next fight.
As well, they both have the Inferno sights, which is going to make it really awkward, right? This is about to be an interesting engagement. They're going to be hiding around this corner, kind of playing chicken with one another. Who wants to peek it? As well, the Hanzo throwing in obscene amounts of damage. Amplification Matrix from either side, looking to see who's going to be going down first. Transcendence used, Dragon used across point. A little bit late there, Big Lewis will be taking down Test. Remember that Transcendence only healing non-vulnerability, so those headshots still just as viable, and Azo doing exactly the same to follow it up.
I actually feel like that fight was won off of the Infra sight. Now, I don't say that very often, but like, because Infra sight isn't that impactful in terms of just sheer value. But when you have all that information, nice kill from Azo on the Widow. Yeah, very, very nice for the Hanzo. But when you have all the information, you're able to put all your cooldowns into that and make sure that you're getting damage on the correct targets, make sure you're exposing the targets that are away from the Transcendence healing, means that you have a lot more to work with on the side of Inferno, and they're using that Infra sight ability a lot better.
And here they come. Inferno looking for more, and Big Lewis, Chef Big Lewis, trying to cook us up a nice play to look at. They've gained a little bit of space here. Oh, but little they know this Widowmaker behind him is going to be huge. Test goes down, and on the flank, comes the big boy. Another kill down on Anapis, and these open sidelines are just oh so freeform. It's a race for time though, as they need to find these frags early. They need to find these eliminations before Synergy X take enough space, because slowly but surely that tank line is bleeding out. The Brigitte is back though. Purple is going to be so key to all of the space that Inferno have, to all of the sustain that they have. Will be going down eventually, but the damage is done. Leb falls, and Azo is back on the Hanzo. DZ has just been this immovable object on the cart, no less, and the Sigma proves fatal here for Synergy.
Yeah, I believe they actually got a lot of information there from a Sonic Arrow from Aces, that they were able to play aggressive on the one particular target who was a little bit out of position, and then they were able to transport that messy fight. Taz got a couple of kills to try and help Synergy X out. It didn't really mean much. And ultimately, it's a bit even in this next fight. Amplification Matrix and Supercharger, both very impactful. Online for Synergy X, both teams having that Infrasight as well. We'll see what information they gain from that.
Waiting for the right opportunity. Does he pop it before Test has his? He will. Trying to find that early advantage. This time not on the flank though. Implication Matrix, pardon me, sent for it, trying to just get enough damage to shred through the double shield, but DZ trades one back on the Test. And now open Widow sightlines completely uncontested. Big Lewis could do his thing. Azo as well, chucking in so much damage on the Hanzo. The Widow finally removed from her perch, but Lev goes down as overtime ticks down. And with that, Inferno are going to be taking Junkertown 3-1.
Yeah, they take it, their second map of the series and get closer to that victory. But I hate to bring it up again, but the Infrasight usage from Big Lewis means that they have the knowledge, and with that knowledge they decide, you know what, we're gonna have Aozo use that Dragon Strike right into them. It's gonna split them apart, and then they send their Sigma up to the high ground to just lodge the Widowmaker and also kill the Baptiste in the back line, which meant they had so many options, and they won that last fight very potently. Very well played from Inferno.
Extremely well done there by Inferno. Perfect execution. It came down to the Widow duel a lot. I do want to hand it to Synergy. Test put up a hell of a fight. It was really close. Playing around double shield like that isn't easy. Even on a map like Junkertown that is relatively open, getting those shots in is incredibly impressive. And both of those Widowmakers put up obscene numbers that I do not want to see in my ranked game.
Yeah, that's terrifying. I would not want to walk on a spawn. I might just like, run around the spawn, maybe explore the Junkertown spawn, break the Roadhog's little bike, go into the little secret chamber, just explore a little bit. Don't really want to walk out of the spawn against either of those Widowmaker players who put on quite a show for us. But something that's interesting to me is X-Lapis on the Zen did get value at times, but not really. They didn't really use their Discord over effectively on the tanks. And it seems that Parable just playing, the support pick that doesn't really synergize with the composition was able to get a lot more value, especially with that Mercy pick early on.
Yeah, that Mercy pick. I mean, let's talk about that, right? The Brigitte wasn't so effective in those open areas. The sustain never really came down because you never had to brawl. The fight just ended at when the Widowmakers got kills. And the most important thing for that was breaking the shields. And I think Azo, he had a nice set of picks here and there, a couple of headshots. But I think more important than that, he was silently doing his job, breaking down barriers faster than we've ever seen.
Yeah, like damage boost plus storm arrow, that's a Sigma shield dead. It's gone. And then that's one of your two shields gone, and then it's 2 versus 1 in the shield war, and it's done. And especially when they're not running the Mercy and they're not really building that bubble particularly fast, then you're going to win that shield war 9 times out of 10.
Done a fantastic job doing that. Our next map, however, is going to be King's Row. Now, there's some more space for Widow. You can work with Nash. You can work the double shield. You can work a brawl composition and Orisa Reinhardt. The Zarya Reinhardt is kind of just a classic here. And even a Sigma Reinhardt, as far as tank compositions go. What on earth do you expect to see? Because there's so many different options.
I could see both of these teams like being a little bit stubborn, just going for the Ryan Zarya. In particular, we saw some good Zarya play out of a Synergy X, and attempted good Zarya play out of Synergy X on the first map control center. So they might want to go with the Zarya, but I feel like we're just going to see that nice patient double shield play from Inferno, maybe with Ashe instead of the Widowmaker this time. And we might see Azo bring out this Fora again. However, I would like to see the Hanzo a bit.
I wouldn't mind seeing another Hanzo. Honestly, one of my favorite things to run on this map is just a double spam when it comes to DPS. Of course, the Mei McCree, kind of a classic here, can go to great effect because shutting down that brawl with a Mei is super great. Of course, something like a McCree or an Ashe just puts more damage onto those shields, as well as threatening a ton of damage onto a backline or even onto a tank when you're trying to shred them down. I'm really interested to see what they put Big Lewis on. I mean, the Widowmaker pocket pick is one thing, but you have to be able to perform on other heroes, right? They started off on the Ashe on Junkertown defense, and they didn't really find that much value with it. So it kind of pulls into question the depth of Big Lewis's hero pool and whether or not that could be taken advantage of by Synergy X.
Yeah, well, Bayless didn't actually play map one where it was more brawl maps, where we saw a radical gamer come in, play the May, come in and play the Symmetra. So maybe when it comes to a more brawly map like King's Row, Big Lewis actually might be taken out of the lineup. However, I would like to see him stay in and try and play the Ashe.
No, I think playing the Ashe is something that we haven't actually seen at all today, right? We saw the games earlier, it was a lot of dive, it was a lot of really interesting stuff, but the Ashe has never come to fruition, really. It's been played a little bit, but never actually gotten to show up. So here on a map like King's Row, it's a little bit closer range. Does the Ashe matter? Do you run it over a McCree? What's your kind of opinion on the hit scan situation when it comes to Kings?
So the hit scan in Kings used to be dominated by McCree because McCree has a lot more like utility and it used to be a bit more of a brawl map. Now it's a bit more patient in the play. So that flashbang utility was always really useful for that McCree. Of course, flashbang did get nerfed recently, and Ash also got buffed. So Kings Row also is very linear and has a lot of chokes. So Dynamite could get full value in those linear chokes. And watching the Ash on the high ground in Kings Row is bloody terrifying. And if Purple could play the Mercy to Big Lewis's Ash, I'm terrified.
Yeah, damage boosting that. I mean, it turns the headshot into a one shot, effectively turning your Ashe into a Widowmaker. And in most of the ranges on King's Row, most notably, that still is going to be a one shot. The fall off damage is not going to be enough to negate that. So whether you run with the Baptiste Mercy or whether you run with something like a Lucio Baptiste that we've seen a little bit of when you're running the Orisa Reinhardt, could even be pretty deadly if you just shove a lot of damage in Synergy X's face. They seem to struggle to deal with it, though. It's the same thing with the spam on Li Zhang. It's the same thing with the Widowmaker on Junkertown. If you just throw things at them from a distance, they're not really sure how to deal with it.
Yeah, their rotation and sort of shot calling seems a little bit poor until they get into the mid fight. Starting all fights, that's where we saw Inferno when most of their fights mid fight, they could get to the mid fight. Synergy X actually looked quite clean, but it's approaching the fight. It's making the right decisions. It's finding a path around the map so that you could get and take the best fight possible, and they weren't able to do that at most of the points.
And King's Row offers up a couple of things attacking wise. What we've talked about what we want to see with all these chokes. We want to see an Ashe. We want to see some damage boost. We want to see a little bit of spam put in towards Synergy X. Inferno are keeping their attacking side, most notably. What do you want on attack? How do you break that kind of a defense?
I think realistically, you can run a lot of different options. I feel like a Ryan Sigma composition is pretty good if you run it with the Pap Lucio. You could play hyper aggressive with the Lucio and the Reinhardt and have the Sigma kind of take an off angle, try and shield off the Ashe who's trying to use Dynamite's kinetic grasp is also very powerful against that Dynamite. Also, if we were talking about the May McCree composition from earlier, we wanted to discuss that D.Va is pretty prevalent. That composition is really good for shielding McCree with the defense matrix. However, D.Va got a buff recently to, or sorry, nerf recently to her boosters, which means she's not really that prevalent anymore, and the Sigma pick is a bit more prepared, but we could still see the D.Va if you're running the May McCree composition.
Yeah, actually, I wouldn't mind some sort of a full brawl. Get aggressive with it. Play something like the May McCree. Play the D.Va Reinhardt. Try and eat a lot of those dynamites if you suspect that's exactly what the defense are going to be running. Do you think there's any compositions that Synergy X can fall back on the defense? One thing that comes to mind for me, big time, a Torbjorn here on King's Row has been something that's slowly risen to prevalence. Do you think something like a Torbjorn pick could be viable for them?
Uh, Maybe on point A and point B, because point B molten core is really strong, especially if you're running Orisa. You can kind of pull people into that molten core ability. But on point A, you do have those sight lines where that torp turret can sort of neglect the space that Inferno might want to use. Point C kind of negate the value of the Tourbillon completely. There's not much really you could do with that Tourbillon pick. But I'd maybe like to save for point A and then get off to maybe like an Ashe for point B.
Well, we'll get to see what exactly these teams are running in just a moment. We're loading into King's Row. We'll be back with you guys after just a quick break. And we're back, ladies and gents. We're just ready to hop into King's Row here. Inferno are up 2-0. Synergy X, their backs against the wall. This is it. It's now or never for them. Let's see if they can figure out and finally figure out how to take down Big Lewis in this very scary Widowmaker that they've become all too familiar with.
Yeah, so as we look at the lineups, we do see Big Lewis and Azo back. And light up on that double sniper, they look pretty comfortable on that composition. It looks like we're going to see a little bit of a different look from them on a tank line. What do you think is Ryan Zarya is going to do differently to the double shield?
I'm down for the brawl. I mean, it's giving a different look. Inferno, they want to run it into him, and I think that's a good idea, right? Synergy haven't really seen this, and I think it plays out better for Synergy, honestly, right? Forcing the brawl into brawl is something they haven't had to deal with, at least not in the fashion of the Reinhardt Zarya, and so there's about to be a lot of damage going down very, very quickly. Big Lewis has some serious sidelines to work with as well. Let's see what they can make do with it. Dancing around, oh, look at great sleep on the left, taking down so low, the nade barely able to keep him up. Now we see it's going to be DZ in the unfortunate situation of having to deal with it. Azo, though, capitalizes beautifully as Leb and Tess get way too aggressive and are going to be punished for it.
Yeah, Big Lewis and Azo get the sidelines, get the kills. Just kind of, you know, speed their tanks in, create as much space as possible, and then, yeah, once these two have sightlines, there's no chance of living.
Oh no, Big Lewis clean it up. Alright, did we even mention anymore? I feel like it's like a regular occurrence. Like, if Big Lewis didn't find a kill every 30 seconds or so, I'd be worried for it. I'd worry about his connection or his keyboard, you know?
Yeah, I hope he's not playing on keyboard, because that is against rules here.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm not calling him a keyboard. I forgot we're on console.
Right, Doris just, he's broed it, he's cheating. He has to be this, right? He's killing everything too fast. Hey, so close to that Dragon Strike. It's going to be interesting to see how he uses the information of the Sonic Arrow, again with the Dragon Strike ultimate. Q3 and Lucid have a little bit of a difference in ultimate charge in the Zarya based on how the Reinhardts are playing a little bit more aggressively, and that's a bit interesting to me to see if that's going to continue for the rest of the series.
They still have that Dragon Strike, like you mentioned, throwing it in early. There's a lot of potential for damage here. DZ, though, dishing it out, stuck in the coffee shop. There's not much you can do. Taking so much damage. Life just gets forced out of position, and the ultimate advantage for Inferno. Granted, it was only one, but it was more than enough.
Yeah, and with how quick these fights are going for Inferno, they are building such a big ultimate advantage over Synergy X that they can really just go for the entirety of this map. They're gonna have every single ultimate online, like by the time they're like approaching last fight, whereas Synergy X, I'm not so sure they're building that Graviton Surge extremely slowly, and it's looking really difficult for them right now.
It's not feeling great. There is stabilization potential. Point C can be an extremely good point to hold. Taking down Big Lewis is key. A shatter down onto the main tank. Anti-native. The Nano isn't really going to be doing that much. He has to retreat here. Synergy, they're going to stabilize. Don't you over-aggress. Oh, they over-aggress. They empty the sound barrier, though, to counter. Great block onto the shatter, but the damage is too much. Inferno has so many tools to deal with this.
Yeah, they use both support ultimates on the side of Synergy, and they're gonna want them back as they just lose the ultimate war because Inferno has so many ultimates available to them. And they get lit pick on the test, so they are gonna get this cart rolling, and this is a stern time by being put by Inferno. However, no ultimates really left apart from the Dragon Strike, and they also have the Dragon Strike available for Synergy X, and potentially a Graviton Surge as well to combine with it.
Yeah, I'm looking at that combo. That is the time where they have to meet Cube. It's now or never, but if Inferno break them on this final C point, it's not looking great for you or your series hopes. It's all in line, but Synergy are slowly pulling it back. They're going to get that Graviton Surge online if needed. It is there, but Inferno have been pushed away and repelled for the time being.
Yeah, interesting to know. Something I actually missed going to the series. Nigel Farage has been something for Inferno, who's very known for his Lucio play and his politics inability in the United Kingdom. It's not the same Nigel Farage, don't worry. It's the Xbox account name Nigel Farage. As we see Chest on switching over to the Ash, getting a lot of value out of that Dynamite, and they still keep their Graviton Surge Dragon Strike combination, which could give them another quick and easy fight.
Yeah, Nigel is miles away from a sound barrier to actually save them from this. This should be a perfect combo for them. Yep, clean up the kills, nice and easy, unrecognized with 3K Dragon. Can't give them all the credit though. The Graviton did most of the work.
Yeah, but with that ultimate, not great for Synergy X. They maybe have the Bob and the Earth Shatter next fight, which is fine. However, you're probably going to be coming into an Infer site, a Dragon Strike and Nano Boost and a Graviton Surge for Inferno, depending on how Lucy gets charged up early in the fight. Early stages of the fight. Oh, okay.
Early pick, Shatter finds one on 8. That's a curious, how on earth did he get hit behind everything? BNF Leb next to fall. Cube as well. They have the Graviton Surge as well as the Dragon Strike soon to be online should the recontest come in. Lucid is down. That tool now out of the way. Trying to keep him locked in spawn. Those point approaches the end here. It should get a touch. Tracer as well as Wrecking Ball to touch. They will get on top of it just in time. DV goes down. This is not over for Synergy.
Yeah, boost here coming from Nigel Fries, gets the kill onto the Tracer, however, Resurrection comes on to Test, who has got that Bob to come onto the point. Bob will come onto the point, actually, will just miss the point, won't be able to Test, but Test is just going to kill everything. Gets 4 kills for the on the side of Synergy X, kind of fragging now. Anything Stigler to do, he could do better.
I'm actually a little scared here for Inferno. Their Graviton Dragon timing is a little bit thrown off. There's no support ultimate notably for Synergy X, so there's no real timer for it. We have to beat this sound barrier, so they've got a lot of tools. Yeah,
we'll see how it goes. They have got the Graviton Surge, which has to be their main utility of winning this fight. And there's no support ultimates apart from the Valkyrie online. BNF Leb goes down. No main tank to the side of Synergy X.
And now it's just clean up here for Inferno. Big Lewis and Azo popping off right now. Soundbarrier as well. Is that insult to injury? Graviton Surge thrown out. Do they have to follow up? The Dragon Strike is online here for Azo. Anti-Nate lands down onto 1. Not much more to be found though as the Reinhardt charges in. BNF Leb looking for value. The damage is there. The Shatter doesn't connect with anything. Still alive though. Unrecognized comes in on the Genji. This stack is actually notably long.
We'll see DZ running low. Lab goes down, so we'll see if those Wrecking Ball can decide to get a little bit more time off the clock. Let's see if Synergy can come back into this fight. They do get a kill with Cube.
They haven't found much in the way of frags yet, though, and with that, they'll get ground out overtime, but not overtime in the game. 151 remains on the clock here for Inferno with a fantastic King's Row take. I gotta say, though, Synergy did a great job of taking time off the clock there at the end.
Yeah, they do actually cut with 1 minute, above 1 minute on the time bank, which means that, you know, there's even if Synergy cap in overtime, that they will have no chance of winning the map. So Inferno will guaranteed get another chance to attack King's Row. If Synergy X cap all 3 points, and if Synergy cap all 3 points in overtime, it means that they cannot possibly win the map, and we will potentially go to map 4. However, it seems very unlikely if they do cap in overtime.
Yeah, capping in overtime, I mean, it's going to be a struggle in itself. We got to get there. Synergy need to show us some attacking prowess. That was some great defense that they were playing. The Ashe from Test was fantastic. Now that you're competing with Big Lewis on a Widowmaker, on defense, there's a lot of space to work with, a lot of high ground. How do you want to deal with that? Do you want to throw up the counter Widowmaker? Do you think they should play the Ashe? Because it looks like they're opting for the former.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, both teams look pretty comfortable on the Widowmaker. It's just that Big Lewis is able to get a better crossfire based on his Hanzo as a teammate, whereas Unrecognized has kind of been taking the same angles as Tess, and it's not really been creating enough space for the Widowmaker on Synergy X Cobalt. So Big Lewis has been taking better advantage of the map as well, so that's kind of where the better of the Widowmaker duel has been. However, Tess did look pretty good, yeah.
Well, we'll see where this Widowmaker duel wants to go, or if Test actually swaps. I wouldn't be too surprised to see the Ashe come out here, but no, it's more the same, more of the brawl. Mercy Moira, though, for Synergy is a really, really interesting pick. Oh, and so's that. Test picks up Big Lewis and follows it up with another one, putting on a performance of his own. Like you mentioned earlier, anything you can do, he can do better, and you know what? That's exactly how this first fight's going.
Yeah, quick fight win for Synergy X. Test getting a couple of kills, so they might be able to set over a nice offense. Azo, not long for this world, and that fight is over.
Over quickly, and an ultimate advantage not really gained here by Inferno, right? You didn't gain any support charge. Normally you'll see the Ana come away with a good bit after a lost fight, but she didn't manage to because she got picked so early.
Yeah, looking really bad. However, they do get a little bit more of like a defensive high ground position. They are able to hold this choke and this nice archway. Oh, Tess gets another kill with the Mercy damage boost. He's getting the resources now, however, is gonna get taken down by loses partner in Azo. Gets another kill to Nafis, and he is trying to turn up to the flag show now. DPS everywhere popping on.
Inferno have a pretty significant advantage. They should be pushing this right now. If you win this fight, if you take this 5 versus 4, you can shove them back through the choke, and that's exactly what they'll do. Slowly forcing their way back and taking such a powerful position here. Lining up though, there's a lot of damage being thrown at them. Unrecognized on the Pharah. There's a Coalescence on the back end here. So much comes up. This dragon could peel perfectly though. Azo, if you just get it in time, it's going to be huge. Chess the first to go down. The Widowmaker doesn't really have sightlines here though. That's not the biggest of picks. Big Lewis now has to get out in their own right. The Pharah pressuring them in so much space gained by Synergy. Just the threat of these ultimates is terrifying. Barrage is up, looking for the right opportunity, flying over top. Will they get the use of it is the big question. Cannot unrecognized take out this guy by Azo. That's a huge threat now gone. Shatter to close out the fight, and Inferno have done it. A very scary situation, barely able to be navigated.
Yeah, it's just done. That fight is done. Azo getting the crucial kill on unrecognized. He's trying to set up that barrage on the far for Synergy X. Nothing much going on here. Graviton Surge up for both teams next. However, Nigel Farage is kind of in a race to try and get that sound barrier up before Cube 3's Graviton Surge to counteract that damage.
Big stuff for Inferno. You're right. Getting that sound barrier online is going to be critical. 80% to 80%. They're going to use their own Graviton first. Dragon out. Nothing to counter it. Anti-nade as well ensures that is going to be connecting and slowly pushing back to this choke. This cart is backing up, and Inferno have a fantastic opportunity to hold extremely far forward.
Yeah, we'll see if that, maybe over potential commitment on the Graviton Surge plus Dragon Strike comes back to bite them. However, they will have the sound barrier and potentially a nano boost online for the next fight, so they will have both of their support ultimates to deal with. Okay, okay, just hold on a second.
Little bit of revenge there. They're deciding to go off the high ground because you're not playing into a melee. There's nothing to really wall you off or stop you from pushing through here. So it's a much less difficult choke to actually push. All you need to do is survive the damage from the Hanzo, which is significantly less hard than something like an ice wall. But now Synergy, they have a lot of tools. They've got that barrage that they weren't able to use successfully in the previous fight. They've got a Valkyrie. They've got a Coalescence. It's the order in which they use them that's going to be super duper critical here. And I think that Graviton Surge is looking real juicy paired with a barrage, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Throw it in, sound barrier out. No real damage to follow up here. Completely wasted by Synergy, not able to follow up. Inferno now looking for a counter and engage, and that's exactly what they do. Lev falls, Cube as well. No tanks in the way. It's free real estate.
Oh, a little bit more tactical crouching from Aiza. Big Lewis does lose the Widowmaker 1v1, so they have a little bit of freedom here to Synergy X to come in here and take a duel. Actually, they can't take the 6v5 because Tess goes down late as well. A little bit more tactical crouching. Cube 3. Make the alteration to go over to the Sigma. However, let's go back to that Graviton Surge with absolutely minimal value for Synergy X. No kills of it, and the barrage wasn't even attempted.
And now the Graviton Dragon Strike coming up for Inferno here. They're nearing that critical combo. They've got the Nano Boost. They have so many tools to end this. Unrecognized has the one thing that could just end this fight outright with this barrage. Up over top, finds one. Can they find a second? No! Gets taken down, but one big bot will fall by the wayside here as Unrecognized gets traded out for a Sleep Dart. Synergy X hold on to their hopes and dreams of this series.
Yeah, they do. However, they only have the Coalescence left. If Inferno can come back and recontest, and they would have to come up against both tag guy ultimates. However, it's going to be really difficult for Inferno to even make it back to point.
Extremely difficult, exactly. But ultimates are online for Inferno. Shatter has to be big. Not much time to charge up that Graviton Surge, but they could get it just in time. 90% creeping up. Coalescence to engage here from Synergy, looking for a lot of damage, trying to find DZ. Punish this Reinhardt for getting over aggressive. Looking for the Shatter, doesn't find anything. Lev was more than ready to wait for that. Meanwhile, we do see the Reinhardt here from Inferno. DZ gets taken real low, barely able to be kept up by Azana. Fantastic job there by one big bot to clutch out that fight.
Yeah, he's getting another kill on unrecognized, kind of winning that projectile DPS duel once again. And they will also have Dragon Strike online for the next fight with the sound barrier. Oh, Tess gets a kill on the Azo, but he's not going to be long enough for the roll. It's going to be 66 when it comes back. Those kills not going to be much. And it's going to be interesting to see the Dragon Strike and sound barrier, if that's going to matter in this sort of ultimate duel where there's not much online for Synergy X.
Yeah, there's no Graviton Surge. The biggest thing here is going to be the Gravitic Flux. That barrage is almost online, but the key word there, almost. Inferno have their ultimates now. Synergy need to wait. That Dragon Strike is extremely early, though. What on earth are you doing with this one? They look for an engagement. Tess is just going to get the bitter of Big Lewis when that backline opens up. Sound barrier used. You have to win this engage now if you're Inferno. Otherwise, Synergy, their hopes are alive for winning this match. Trying to charge DZ back through, but just barely can. Oh no! Nigel eats the nano boost, and so Ryan is not safe. DZ falls for it. And now with Unrecognized out of the way, Inferno, they have a little bit of a chance, but Synergy are going to take it over with that ultimate advantage.
Yeah, they have minimal time bikes though, and the problem with this now is that Inferno could just take 2 really long fights and take them to overtime, and then it's not possible for Synergy actually to win this map. And I think that's what they're going to do at that time of the clock. Big Lewis gets another kill onto the wire on Synergy X's side. It's not unable to resurrect it. So yeah, that's another kill, and looks like Inferno are going to take this fight pretty swimmingly, and it's going to be really difficult for Synergy X to capture time.
Great job there by Inferno, actually converting that pick into a team fight win, into an ultimate advantage. Most notably, they had a couple of ultimates online, but it was looking relatively even. Now you have a Graviton Surge. The Dragon Strike is almost certainly going to be online here. Azo charged up 64%. Lucid has the Graviton Surge already, so even if you don't use the Dragon Strike, the Graviton Surge is guaranteed peel for your team. There's almost no tools in the back pockets of Synergy X, but they can't even afford to take a dry fight here because there's so little time on the clock. It is now or never for this team if they want the hopes. And oh my god, DZ, what are you doing? Shattering from the back, catches everybody! It's huge, and Inferno looking to close it out with a little bit of style. 30 seconds on the clock, and almost all the hope is gone for Synergy.
Yeah, no ultimates online for Synergy X. It's last fight territory. The Dragon Strike out of the Graviton Surge online. Hierarch Test doing his best to keep Synergy X, and it gets 2 picks, and it's going to be a little bit of a soft reset here for Inferno.
Inferno wisely backing off. All they need is 1 fight. 7 seconds on the clock. Synergy X, it's going to take some clutch kills. Take Azo out of the fight before you can throw that Dragon Strike into the Graviton Surge, and you stand a chance. Grab out, BNF Love, the only thing caught in it. Test takes out one big bot. Lev falls to the Dragon Strike. Not the biggest combo ever. Cube's still alive on the Roadhog, but just a big ultimate battery. 2 kills traded back here for Synergy X. But Inferno, they're just too hot to handle here as the point looks to end. Overtime ticks down, and they're going to take map 3 here, 3-0 up against Synergy X.
Yeah, a little bit closer than our game earlier with 2 3-0s. Maximum execution on that double sniper competition. Inferno looked absolutely potent today. Synergy X didn't have enough synergy to play against them, and not enough execution to beat them in that double shield competition, despite Test's best efforts. What a game. Inferno take the victory.
I mean, what an entertaining game as well. You can see play after play. Test here in the play of the game on the Ashe. The hit scan players for these teams were one of the best things I've gotten to witness in Overwatch in a long time. The Widowmaker duels, it may have been a 3-0, but it was by far one of the most entertaining 3-0s I've gotten to see. And I think that's a real compliment to just the absolute clutch factor that Synergy and most notably Test had.
Yeah, Test kind of kept that series alive for a long time, especially at the Ashe 4K, and also that notably that Widowmaker 2K heading into the last fight kind of forced Inferno back to soft reset before they just threw the Graviton Surge plus the Dragon Strike combo in there and won that final fight. But what a series, and what a end to this GG Xbox session. Whew, I loved it.
Yeah, it's really hard to ignore. I mean, the Widowmakers here, we'll talk about it more. Big Lewis. That's about all there is to say about that. But his team around him did a really good job. Azo was on shield break duty pretty much the entire time. And it's weird. I usually go on shield break duty for my team. And so I'm kind of used to it. It's the hardest part about shield break duty, not getting distracted. Azo did his job, didn't get distracted. The Reinhardt rarely went down from DZ, was extremely confident in his heals from one big bot, that he was able to move forward pretty much as far as he wanted because he had so much confidence in the rest of his team backing him up.
Yeah, they also did really well rotating their roster around. We saw Radical Gamer on map 1, no Big Lewis to play the hit scan there because hit scan isn't really prevalent other than maybe Garden on Lijiang. So I really like that decision from Inferno. And of course, Nigel Farage coming in to play the Lucio on Kingstar, which is very prevalent to move your Reinhardt around and give that Reinhardt a little bit more mobility and a little bit more decision making.
Some really impressive showing today so far from every of the teams we got to see. Synergy showed us some promising stuff, both Synergy and Synergy X. Kaibe taking game 1, pardon me, by storm. Inferno doing the exact same thing here. A lot of teams to really keep an eye out for as we get further into the GG EU console season 5. But as for today, as for EU, that's all we have. Ladies and gentlemen, though, you got to keep an eye out because GitGud NA console is coming on in just a bit. As for Ocean Eye, though, that's all we have. You can check out our Twitter handles below. I'm at Doorcast. I believe he's at OceanCast GG. There's some more stuff going on in the Discord as well. The Pluto Cup will be happening soon. Be sure to get your team signed up for that. That'll be happening shortly, and you won't want to miss it. As for the games today, though, I hope you guys can stick around and watch the NA portion of the cast. We've had a great time. Take it easy.